Oh, hello. Okay, so as you notice, I've changed my name on here to the Poor Prepper. Um, Pretty much because that's what we've always been for quite a long time. So I'm going to give you a quick synopsis for those of you who don't know, and I don't think I have very many followers or whatever. So, um, but I figure you ought to know that when I was around 30, and I'm 52 now. So when I was around 30, I realized that, for our comfort, we've never made a lot of money. So for our comfort and for our lifestyle, we always rented. Because let's face it, you live in Arizona, your air conditioner goes out, you have to get a new one. It's thousands of dollars, of which we never had in the bank. So that wasn't going to happen, but we could afford a rent. So we always had rentals and everything was always taken care of. And then in my 30s, I had a panic attack because I realized that if anything were to happen to my husband, who is the breadwinner of the family, that I was going to be stuck in a very, very scary situation. And so in that moment of clarity and fear, I went ahead and I went online and I found a place called Land Central. And on there, I found piece of property near a place where I grew up. And I went, it's cheap, it's doable. It's like, I think I paid $100 a month, and it will be mine. And if anything happens, the least I could set up a tent, and I had somewhere to go. So that's what I did. And then I called my husband and went, guess what I did? And he was okay with it, surprisingly, because I hadn't discussed it at all with him. We hadn't been talking about anything like that. And we then started thinking about off grid living and how that would be. And at the time, we were in a medieval reenactment teaching style group. So we did a lot of outdoor camping that was more like a medieval city. And we learned a lot of things that you just don't normally do, right? So, like how to make a mud oven and how to camp in luxury and how to cook fully on just a fire. Amazing meals. So that's what I did. Then, about 5 years ago, we realized that my husband was starting to get panic attacks, the stress of everything. He was making a lot of money back then, and but for his health and basically for our own peace, we decided kind of to give it to God, pack up our stuff, and leave, and go out to our property that had nothing on it. We bought an RV to park on the property, and we were just gonna kind of give it up to God and do it one step at a time, see what we could do, right? So on the way there, we got a flat tire, and we ran into it. And I figured this is God saying, "Hey, you need to kind of slow your roll, make a better plan." But we ended up having to go over to a ranch that my husband used to work at, and asked to borrow a tire iron because we didn't, or whatever he needed. I'm probably getting that way wrong, to change the tire on the motorhome. And because he worked on their heavy equipment for years, we were still really very friendly with them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, Kevin, here you go." And as we got talking, they said they have two parts of the ranch, and one of them, they don't spend but a few months in, and they said we need somebody to caretake if you would like that job and do some mechanic work while you're there, until you figure out what you're doing in your neck of the woods. We sure can use you. So that's what we did for a year. And during that time, we were able to really get acquainted with our property. So that's what we did. And after the year, we moved here. And right now, because we haven't built the home yet, and we didn't make a plan, and we kind of, fly by white, whatever. We got an opportunity kind of to purchase, monthly rent to own type thing, a home, though it's a total fixer upper and actually should be condemned. But we're working on it slowly. Who knows what's going to happen with this home? We figured the two properties doesn't hurt, and we will end up on our property soon. Actually, we've been really gearing up over there. So now I'm in northern Arizona. It's a high desert. So there's a few things I want to point out to you. Is that I'm going to make another video and just kind of go from there. This is my life story. This is what's happened. This is where we're going. And the reason that I have decided to share this with you is because I realize with today's uncertain times, crazy times, oh my God, I have no money times, that there's a lot of you that are being evicted trying to figure out what you're going to do, but trying to just figure out how you're going to survive. And so I want to help. And this is telling you what I've done is the only way that I can help. And I'll just share with you. So that's why I changed the name, is because I'm going to walk you step by step as we do stuff on our property. I'm going to give you pointers from my point of view, what struggles we've gone through, what I know of Arizona. I'm a native Arizonan. I was raised in Holbrook. Then I was a teenager in Flagstaff. Then I left home, went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, went to Reedsport, Oregon, and loved it, but couldn't afford it. For some reason, with both of us having two jobs, we still just were struggling. So we ended up coming back to northern Arizona. We were in Flagstaff again. And then we were out at Happy Jack. Then we were out at Globe. Then we were in Phoenix, Mesa. And now we're back in northern Arizona in the desert part. So that's my story. And I want to help you. I do. I know how scary this all can be. Because I have looked at my bank account during this pandemic and had nothing in it. I've had 11 cents, and I just sat there and went, not paying a bill with that. So, I gotcha. I know what you're going through. It's terrifying. And right now, I have a $600 APS bill that I have to pay in 10 days, and I got 25 bucks. So, but you know what? I also have faith. And I also believe that God will figure this out with us. And if He puts my foot in the right direction, we'll get there. I just have to listen. I have to shut up, quit panicking, give it up, give it to God, and move forward. What is the best plan of action? And I won't lie, we've had some help here and there to cover a bill or two, and from friends and family, and man, God bless them. Mwah! And because it does take the stress off. Not that I believe that I had to receive that money, because I think there was going to be a way always, and maybe that was in the plan. I don't know, but it was thankful, because that flood of okay, I'm good this month is sure a blessing. So anyway, you want to know how to do it in the desert or in Arizona, give you a lot of pointers, do what I can do for you. By the way, you have to consider when you're buying in Arizona, before I go into any other video, when you're buying in Arizona, you have to consider the land, the temperatures, your growing season. Flagstaff's beautiful and wonderful and awesome, but the ground is rock, and you have a 3-month growing season. Not highly recommended for off-grid. So that area is awesome, but that's what you got. Happy Jack's wonderful, but there's not a lot of property that's available up there. I mean, it's got a decent growing season. Yeah, you've got the winters, you've got all 4 seasons. Um, it's very doable. However, you've got problem finding land that's inexpensive. I mean, if you got all the money in the world, you're not looking at me. If you're looking at every little penny you got, which might be $100, $200, um, and you're waiting for the stimulus or you're waiting for your unemployment or whatever, and you're trying to figure it out, then come on, let's talk about it. So, and if you're anywhere else in the world, I don't know what your terrain is, but I'll tell you what you need to look at. Um, you need to look at your soil. Is it doable? Even, and it doesn't have to be wonderful soil, but it has to be able to be fertilized, and I'm talking like cow poo poo. Because you can go to a rancher, you can drive up to a rancher and say, hey, can I have some of your poop? And they'll go, help yourself. Have a nice day, especially if you're in Arizona. Arizona has wonderful, wonderful ranchers and wonderful farmers. So they they they're old school. They gotcha. They'll help you out when they can. So the other thing you need to know is I highly recommend if you go on any website. I went through Land Central. I loved them. They were great with me. And I was able to get, and this is one thing I'd ask you to do, get the mineral rights for your property. Um, for me, it's important. I don't know how you feel, but I don't want ever anybody coming in and saying, well, I own the mineral rights, so guess what? I'm digging underneath your house. I own all the mineral rights to my place. So, because nobody's telling me I can't be in my home. Uh, you need to check your weather conditions. What are your growing seasons? Like I said, in Flagstaff, you only have 3 months. If you're looking at like Holbrook, Kingman, Phoenix, you have much more. You have much longer growing seasons. You're not going to see a freeze until well into December, and then they relent right around March. So, but it gets hot as hell. So you also need to consider that. If you're going to be in any type of desert scenario, you need to figure out how you're going to keep yourself, your place, your stuff cool. So there I am. See you in the next video. Love you. Let's help each other out.